Hello and thank you for calling the Auto Glass Helpline. Today we are replacing a windshield on a 2019 Honda Accord, and this one will be a full replacement. So fair warning to those of you that like the shorter videos, this one is going to be longer. So we've already got our glass prepped. We already have our retainer on the bottom here. We're going to proceed with putting our molding on. And we're going to set this guy up here right at the edge and walk this one down, letting this edge of the molding here ride the edge of the glass as we push it up into place. That way we get a nice seal along that leading edge there. That run all the way down. Make sure we're good and tight across, and we're just going to take a razor blade here, trim that excess off. Then we're going to set up our WRD Pro 6 here, setting up our 2 base handling cups. As per my norm, I put my lower cup down here where the frit wraps, second cup up a comfortable distance. Every windshield is going to be a little bit different depending on the height of the windshield. To grab our Pro 6 here, walk over to the car, and top of our hook at the top of the glass. This guy here on these Hondas is usually just going to go all the way down until your tab here touches the felt molding. This is going to be one of those cars that's a little bit of an exception, because you're not going to be able to drop the top of your bar here all the way down to this bottom edge of this mark where we would normally put it. And then we are still going to make sure that our screw here aligns with the top of our pillar there. So the angle of this windshield and the height of the door glass don't allow you to come down all the way. So just a little variant. All it's going to do is it's going to hold your new glass a little bit higher up off of the pinch weld, so not a big deal. Every windshield has its own little nuance. This side, however, back to normal. You take the top of your hook, put it at the top of your glass, not the top of the molding. If you measured from the top of the molding there, then you would go to the top of the molding, but I digress. We are not doing that. Thumb where the bar meets the cup, rotate 90 degrees, and then make sure you are as perpendicular as possible to the glass. So this tube should be perpendicular with this edge here, or as close to it as humanly possible. And we will anchor that cup there and remove our hook. So primary reason for removing this hook, guys, if you shoot the body on everything that you do, you don't necessarily need to remove the hook. I remove this for 2 reasons. One, because I shoot the glass and I don't want to have to dodge this as I come around the corner. And 2, when I first started using this, I left this hook in, walked past this, and my apron caught this and almost drug the glass off my rack. So reason number 2 is so you don't break the glass inadvertently by dragging it off your glass rack. I'm going to flip this over, and we're going to grab a couple of these guys here. And we're going to add these. This is an OEM glass. I'm at our local Honda dealer here, putting this one in. And if I remember correctly, this one sits just below that bottom edge of the frit. This Accord, being an older one, doesn't have the nice little map where you're supposed to set this guy up. But after doing a few of them, you kind of start to remember where these things go. So going to put this in place here. Like so. Make sure that's down nicely. Throw that away. And then we've got our other dams here, which go up the side. And these ones basically just go up the side here, and these are to keep your urethane from squishing into the pillar molding on the inside and getting that ooze out that sometimes has a tendency to happen. And they don't need to go the full length, just that little area there. Grab this guy, we'll let go, and same game on this side. We're going to give this guy a little stick, just make sure we got enough room at the top and at the bottom. And give yourself enough room for your bead on that edge, and run that down the edge like so. And we are prepped out there. Let's take apart a Honda. Starting first and foremost with our camera and our rear view mirror. Going to remove the rear view mirror here, like so. Just using our little mirror tool. This one we are going to pull up towards the headliner, and it should drop off the front, like so. And you take these ones off. There's two little tabs down here, and then up at the top it hooks underneath this little ledge right there that you can barely see up here. So want to lift up towards the headliner because you don't want to snap these off, because if you snap those off, then you're replacing this. Then we're going to pop our camera out of here like so. We're going to release this guy here, and then we're going to unplug this camera, and we are going to put it in the new windshield now. One, because it's a good idea to double check your camera brackets and make sure everything fits before you yank the windshield out of the vehicle. And two, because sometimes the pressure that it takes to push this in, you wind up lifting your glue line, or lifting your windshield out, and you could separate your glue line if it takes too much pressure. And moving on, we're going to remove these side moldings here, and all we're going to do is we're going to take our ever-present screwdriver, we're going to take our hands, lift this up and out, and we're going to reach right inside here, and we're just going to kind of pry this white bit away. So this piece right here slides into here, and you can see there's little teeth in here, just like a typical Honda, but these ones are on the back side and they're protected at the front, so you can't get to them. So this one you actually do have to come in from the back, from the outside here, and you're essentially just reaching in here and just pushing these down and working your way across until you find all of them. Sometimes you can look inside and see exactly where they're at. If I didn't have a camera strapped to my forehead, I would be doing that. It makes it a lot easier, but I'm trying to give you guys as good a view into this process as possible here. So basically just working my way across until I find all those little tabs, and you can hear them pop when they let go like that. Over to this side, and we're going to do the exact same thing. Just going to grab the molding here, give it a lift and a little pull away from the pillar edge. You can see those all popped off at the same time. And then the same thing here. Just going to work our way across this until we find all those little tabs and they pop loose. That one there, that one there. You can see some of these actually come off a lot easier than other ones. It's just the nature of the beast. If they were all easy, anybody could do it, and us glass guys would be out of a job. That is your moldings, and you can remove this guy one of two ways. You can either grab yourself a hook tool and hook this guy out. Can dig it out with your ever-present screwdriver as you tug here. If you can remove this like so, that is better than cutting it, because if you cut that molding loose, which if you were going to do it that way, take your utility blade, drive this in until you feel it hit the body, and then lift it up a little bit so you don't cut into the paint. But as we all know, pinch welds are not all nice and smooth and straight across, so you still run the risk of giving yourself a scratch that you're going to have to primer for the job. So if you can remove it, remove it. Going to pull our wipers here, fix that. Somebody else messed up. Looks like somebody's been in here before, judging from the type of little poppers and keepers we have here, like this guy. That is not your typical Honda keeper there. These ones are always fun because I'm sure Honda designed these things so they would explode as you tried to remove them, thus forcing us to buy new ones because all the little tabs break off of them. So yeah, somebody's been in here before because we've got pieces missing. So and we'll have to see if we have some spares for these and get some new ones. So the advantages to being at the Honda dealership, sometimes they have spare parts for you. So this one looks like a 14. We'll pull our wiper nut covers off there, stick those in the pocket, and pull these guys. Leave that there. Slide that out. Slide that out. And then we're going to lift this guy. Tuck him underneath there. And over here we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to push on this rubber here as we lift, because these ones have that nice little rubber lip that grabs underneath the fender. Going to reach in here, and we're simply going to squeeze this guy here like this to get a grip, and we're going to lift and pop that out of there like so. And somebody decided to use a zip tie for their rodent repellent here, so we are going to just remove that. We'll put that back later. And we're just going to grab this guy here, and we're going to continue to pull towards ourselves and up to release the rest of that retainer. Slide this out, set that aside, and we're ready to cut out. Grab some gloves. And today we're going to use our WRD Orange Bat Black Edition to cut this guy out. Grab our guards. And set these over here. Let that draw down. Oop. We have to pull that around. There we go. And drive that through right there. Going to remove our oil tag here. And since this is a Honda, we don't have to worry about cutting a pinch weld. We can just run this one right underneath our retainer all the way across, like so. Still make sure you're not, still pay attention, make sure you're not looped underneath, like so. Make sure you draw this all the way across and then pull it up tight when you get to the other side. Dig some debris out of here real quick. And make sure you are under your glass here at the corner rather than between the layers. And here. Draw up your slack. Make sure you're not hooked on anything like the hinge or the wiper stud, anything like that. And you are ready to cut out. We're using our drill and our WRD drag to cut this guy out of here. So, got our drag. I got a video coming soon focusing on that, kind of giving a breakdown on exactly what it is that drag does. If you're familiar with fishing, you know what a drag does. This is the same thing. It's just operated by hand instead of tightening it manually with a little crank. So we're going to go ahead and cut this. I'm putting very little pressure on the drag with my other hand here and then pulling the trigger at the same time. We're going to watch coming up our pillar cover here, and we're just going to hold this tight. You can use a guard if you would like. Sometimes you own a smaller guard, or you can take these big guards, and once you start to come up the side, you can grab one of these guys and just follow it up if you so desire. Switch sides here. I'm going to cut along the bottom a little ways. You can see that drag, see that starting to spin. Just grabbing a hold of that and giving it a little squeeze. And what that does is it allows you to use that bandsaw motion to cut through the urethane without over tensioning your line. So, switch sides here. And this, we are going to utilize our little cheat here, or a little hack. It's not really a cheat. We're actually going to use this bracket to keep ourselves up above our headliner and above our wires here. Still want to give the wires a tug so they don't get hung up. Don't 100% trust that, but we are also going to pull across the top. So we're going to finish our top cut before we move on to our bottom cut. Like so. Looks like we've got the alignment pin stuck around the line up here. Yep, there's our old one. Then we will move on to the rest of the bottom cut here. Again, we're letting our drag spin, but we're not letting it free spin, because if you look, it's cutting very, very slowly, if at all. Now if I grab a hold of this and give it a little bit of a squeeze and just give it some tension, makes a huge difference on how fast you can cut. And just like that, we are cut out, ready to lift out and clean and trim our pinch weld. So let's take this away and put all this stuff back. Lifting out your glass, guys, make sure when you're lifting out a piece of glass that you always lift it from a vertical. Don't just lean over here and hoist this out, because what can happen if there's a rock chip somewhere along here, if you lift this, all the stress right here is in the center, and if it snaps, it can fold on you. You can damage the paint job, you can damage the dashboard, any number of things. You could damage yourself. So when you're lifting out your glass, make sure you lift this up to vertical or near vertical. Have a hand on the bottom, slide it towards yourself a little bit, find the right balance, and then lift it out. Now we're going to grab our rag, our blades, and our glass cleaner and give this a trim. Grab a paintbrush here, and we're going to get rid of all this loose stuff first. As much of the loose debris as we can. And clean our pinch weld off before we give it a trim here. And yeah, I know it sucks, I know it's a pain in the butt, but this is the proper way. We all hate it because we can't get all the little bits and bobs of dirt out of there because of the edge of the pinch weld, or not the edge of the pinch weld, because of the edge of the glue in the way. But that doesn't mean you can't give it another quick wipe down and clean those little spots off. But we don't want to contaminate our fresh glue line with glass cleaner, regardless of whether it is approved by your urethane manufacturer or not. Just because it's approved doesn't mean it's not a contaminant on your fresh urethane down there. To our other side, and same game. And use our little paintbrush here to get as much of this loose debris as we can out of here. Give this a quick spray. And wipe down, make sure get as much of that loose debris out of there as we can. And again, if you do have some dirt in there, just because we've wiped it down doesn't mean we can't come back with a clean microfiber or the clean side of your microfiber and give it another little trim. So, when you're trimming with these blades, always make sure you don't actually cut towards yourself. If you are cutting towards yourself, like I am doing here, my body is moving away as I'm cutting down this edge. I'm not just standing here and pulling this towards myself. I'm actually moving my body away at the same time as I'm cutting. That way, if I do slip, I don't stab myself. Also, if you're cutting up, guys, you're going to cut this direction, make sure your hand is not right here, because if you're cutting up, you got a dull knife, you're pushing really hard, you get hung up on one of these little pinch weld nuggets here, finally it slips, and you're going to stab yourself right in the hand. I've had a number of people that I've worked with that have been using this, and they were cutting up and stabbed themselves either in the hand here, and one guy laid his whole palm open across there. So never cut towards your hand, always have your hand below your blade. So let's finish these cuts here. And make sure you always keep your blade sharp, guys. You are more likely to damage the vehicle and yourself if you have a dull blade. So put these away here. So we've got a clean part of our rag here. Let's give this a quick secondary wipe here. Just make sure we got all that loose dust from around it. Anything that happened to fall on it. Gonna grab ourselves a primer stick. Get some primer on this glass. Primer any little spots we need to on our car. And then we'll come back, shoot the glass, and get everything put back together. So, to a nice even coat here. Make sure we follow our map. There we are. So, our secondary glue line there. And touch up any spots we need to here. And like so. A couple little spots there, a little spot there. And since we did not use our blade to cut our molding out, and we used our Stingray blade from WRD, a nice clean cut there, and no scratches to deal with on the top. All right, we'll be back in a few minutes and put some glue on this and show the set. All right, back to shoot some glue and get the windshield set on our 2019 Honda Accord. We are shooting our glue with our Tool Power Push 6000 AGR here. I will leave a link to their site in the description, along with links to the WRD Pro handling cups and the Pro 6 as well. The scrapers, everything WRD, all the tools that I've used, I will have links to the description, with the exception of the drag and the e-pump. Those are still in production. So let's shoot some glue. Clean that off and put that one back. Get our tape in place here. That back in place. Make sure all of our cups are well anchored. This one hasn't moved at all there, so we're good there. And going to hang your hook on there. And make sure we are below our hood line, which we should be. Line up our molding and our body clips. And on this side, we're going to, since this is tucked underneath there, use our little ever-present screwdriver here to pop that cup. Hang this out of the way here. And then make sure we're going to hit our glue line there. At the top all decked down. Give this a little bit of a push. Go ahead and remove your Pro 6. Check your reveals side to side. Looks like we're a little tighter on that side than we are on this side. So give this a little tug. Split the difference. That looks good. Now we'll drop our moldings on here. And if you didn't notice, I did not deck the sides because I'm going to allow the molding to do that. That way, when these rubbers sit on the glass, they will push it down as far as it needs to go. Because if you push this down too far, you'll wind up with a gap between this rubber and your glass, and that's when you get an air noise and a return. Customer coming back asking you why they have an air noise. You're gonna snap that guy back in place there and plug this one in like so. This guy, when you put him back, you're going to hook that bottom edge first, and then simply just push up, and that should lock right in place. Rear view mirror, just like many others, slides on there. Use your mirror tool to lock that down. We're going to go ahead and put our service tag back up here, since we are, again, at our local dealership. Grab our vehicle protection and our cups. Put that away in a moment. And to clean out our guys here, a little drain there. This one too. Make sure we're all good. And I'm going to clean off our retainer rib here. Make sure that drops in easier. To push this one up over there, and this one up right here. Make sure you split the hinge there. Pull that guy out of the way there. Give that a little tuck. Same thing on this side. Make sure that comes up. Make sure you split that guy there. Pull that out of the way. Drop that back in, and then to set this corner here and lock in our retainer. Like so. Lock in this corner over here. There we go. To put our wiper blades back on here. There. Give this guy a quick cinch. Like so. Put our covers back on. And for the most part, that is done. I know I still need to put our little retention clips in here, and I'm going to go over to one of the mechanics here and see if they have some extras before I wrap this up. But you all don't need to see me do that, so I'm going to end the video here. That is a full replacement on a 2019 Honda Accord windshield. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next video.